Hello, welcome to Froggy Ray Creations. I'm on today because I had a friend call me and ask a very specific question, and I wanted to I don't know, I've been wanting to do a video like this anyways, so I felt compelled to do said video. Sorry, it's welcome to Froggy Ray Creations. I'm Andy. Here's Bob. I got this beautiful bracelet from my friend Iris. Anyway, okay, so I wanted to share about watercolor and how, because, you know, everybody uses different stuff to color. Some people use distress ink and whatever. But a lot of mixed media, like it can involve all types of art supplies, literally all kinds of things. It doesn't have to be anything in particular. I do want to put a disclaimer that I am in no way trying to say I know more or better than anyone else. I think we all have our own art style, our own niche, I want to say, on the way we use things and our experience levels and whatever. I'm not a professional by any means. Otherwise I, wouldn't have like a little lowly YouTube channel. But anyways, that said, I just know from my experience different watercolors and how to use them. So I just wanted to share just some different ones that you can use that maybe people don't like think about in the junk journaling way. There's a lot of artists that do this type of stuff. So anyway, what I do is I get a piece of like parchment paper, or I would use a paper plate. That's a standard, in my watercolor world. I also use palettes, but a lot of mine are full of mixed colors right now that I don't want to wash out yet because I made those and I like them and I want to use them so I didn't bring over like an actual paint palette, but you can use a paint palette, obviously. A lot of these tricks too, I'm not going to use them in the way that they're intended. Again, that's just not what I do. So I brought over some different stuff that we're going to do. We're going to use, this is mixed media paper, so it's good for watercolor, inks, marker, pretty much anything. It can handle, I'll have to figure out where I bought it from, but I'll link it so that you can see what kind it is, because it holds a lot of water. It's a pretty good, type of mixed media paper, which is hard to find. Some of them, they can't handle water very well. And if you're using watercolor, you're using water because that's what activates it. So I don't have any paint pans on hand, but I do have like this, these are paint pans. This is from Sketchbox, and I had to label it this way because they put their sticker on the wrong side. Not their fault, but anyway. Well, it is their fault, but whatever. So these are considered paint pans, but I don't even know. This might be the amount of like maybe a half pan or a quarter pan. Anyway, that's besides the point again. But these are watercolor crayons. And then I have watercolor markers. Then I have a different type of watercolor crayon and a different type of watercolor crayon. And then I have watercolor pigment powder. So this is watercolor powder, again, from Sketchbox. But a lot of other companies are doing this too. There's, if you go to Jackson Art Supply, I think they have some. I should have pulled that out also. Anyway, what we're going to do is we're going to test out, and I decided because there's all this, oh, look at that, green right away. Perfect. I don't know how well these are going to work. They're a little, they were new to me. Someone sent them to me a while ago, and I haven't actually messed around with them, but so we'll see if there's any ink or pigment left in it. But anyway, we'll figure it out. So you're also going to want water and maybe a cup of water. I do things weird, but I'm going to try my best to show how you would do it like proper. Okay? So we're going to grab, we've got a spritzer because we need spritzing, which we're going to have to refill, which I apologize. We're going to have to do that on camera, but then you can see that process too. In case you don't know or whatever, I'm trying to find my fancy... Are you over here? Where did you go? I have so much stuff that I've pulled out to use in these past videos. We'll just pull out a new one. So I have many of these watercolor brushes. This is a little thicker brush tip than the other one. So we're going to fill it. I'm going to keep that little black thing in there. Little like stopper. We're going to fill that. Beautiful. And again, I use distilled water or even purified water. I don't use tap water when I do this because anything that could potentially have like bacteria buildup, you don't really want your watercolor to get that weird film on it. I mean, it's fine if you do, you can just rub it off or paint it off, you know, get rid of it, but I don't in particular myself like it. So those are just, you know, preferences. I love this little thing. It's beautiful. Okay, so we're going to practice or play around, not practice, play around with the different types of watercolor that you can do. Let's grab them all over here just to start. And then I've got some coffee filters, and I have just some mixed media papers. Excuse me, I drink a Mountain Dew, so I'm trying to like not just belch in your all's ears. Y'all's ears. Okay. I'm feeling very goofy today. It's my friend's birthday, and I don't know. I love him to pieces. So Arnie, if you're watching, happy birthday, my love. Okay. All right. So what I do with the parchment, and this is like, aside from using like myself in particular, and you'll see from like different artists, we all have our own like favorite supplies or, you know, things that we our go-tos. I don't care for like the Crayola watercolor. It's still doable. It's 100% doable. I don't care for like the cakey kind of things. I just don't like the film they leave after, like that powdery stuff. But that is not, it's literally neither here nor there. It's about what you want. And, excuse me. So what I would do, I couldn't find it. I don't know what I've done with it, but I have this palette that comes with like the Crayon Dash watercolor crayons that has this grit texture to it, so where you can like rub it on. But parchment paper works too, as you can see. And I didn't want to do pinks or reds or anything Valentine's. I want to kind of do, let's do some St. Patty's Day coloring. And yeah, so anyway, the art crayon, this is a Marabou art crayon. It's watercolor based, obviously, it's a watercolor. This is in Kiwi, so this is the Kiwi color, and we're just gonna, we smudge it on there, and then you can activate it by either like using a watercolor or like a water brush, which if you squeeze it, water will come out, and then you can mix it around, and then you can kind of just, you know, do whatever you want. Like you can do little drops. I mean, you could literally wet this whole thing and just stick it to it, and it's gonna get the watercolor on there. So however you like to do it, that's, you know, you can try. I mean, I think the best part of crafting is just playing around with stuff. You don't even, like, you could even wet this, and this is the nice thing about watercolor crayons and things like that, is then you can just draw on it. Oops. And, well, I don't want to relid that after I wet it, but then you can go back over and kind of smudge it around a little more so you don't have that line going on, or the chunks. But you can see how it's like, you know, it's movable. As long as it hasn't dried, which that's a whole different story. But so watercolor can set, but typically you can lift it or move it around even after it's set for a while, because it's watercolor. And, you know, that's just what watercolor do. So that's the crayons, the crayon versions. Then you have, well, not all of them, because let's do, this is my favorite brand, is Caran d'Ache. And let's use this, maybe, let's use the darker green, just because. I don't need to put that all the way back on. But again, we're gonna just color a little blob of color. And then, oh, shaking it all over. And then we can even do, what I do? Let's do our spritzer instead and see how it activates it. And then you can just take the, whoa, calm down there, art supplies. And then we can just do almost like your own little jelly printing, but with watercolor. And yeah, so you kind of get like, you know, you get the idea. Now, if you want them deeper pigmented, you can let it dry and do more. But I'll show you, like with these, and this is where I would use, I don't like to spritz them because unless you're going to use all of it, it can kind of get some of the colors into other things. So we're going to do a couple of the greens here. And this is pine. It doesn't look like pine. I don't know. That looks kind of blue, but we'll see. Again, just play with your supplies, you know, try to have fun and just, what I say is, you know, just play around because see that? Like you can get a whole different, I don't think that's, oh, okay. But you see the difference in the richness of the pigment. So you're going to get out of your pans, you're going to get a more vibrant pigment. And you can dull that down if you don't want to do it. You can separate this and put it on your paper and then we'll put more water and that will dilute it. But you can get a lot more pigment out of, these are more saturated, I guess is what really would be the term per se. Oh, what is wrong with this? Okay, that's wonky. But anyway, we're just gonna pick that up and pick up some of that. I did get a different set of parchment, a different piece, just in case this got a little too whatever. So that's kind of those. And then I think we need a new piece to showcase the watercolor and the powder. You don't want to close those up until they're dry. I mean, you can, it's yours. You do what you like, whatever you want to do, you know? 1 second, I need a sip of water. Okay, excuse me. It's very dry because it's so, oh, I did grab them. Wow, Andy, get your head out of your butt. Okay, actually, I think I do have some room still. And this to me, I like, art can be messy and messy can be fun for people. And sometimes you don't want to be messy. So another thing you can do is if you have like a baking pan or any kind of old box or something that you don't really care about it getting messy, you can put your artwork inside of it, and then you can just go to town. And even if you're spritzing and spraying and whatevering, it's not going to get like all over your workstation. So this I think is going to turn out really cool. This was kind of some of the stuff that I was going to talk about with doing the backings to like napkins. Also, Erin, I have to show you, this is my newest napkin. I love unicorns, and now I have a unicorn. But so the white backing that a lot of people peel off when they're creating their, I don't even know if I'm going to be able to get this off, because, oh, look at that. It's pretty much already ready. It knew that I wanted to do that. Uh-oh. You should be a little gentle. So you don't have to just do it to coffee filters. You can do it to the napkins backing also. And that was another video. That was what I was originally intending to do, was show how, because I made some, they're not on hand, But I made some that I was using in my clusters, if you saw that video. Because a lot of people, they peel this off and then they use just the pattern for decoupage, or Erin makes laminated pockets out of it. So I was like, man, I want to do something with this. So let's do that next, because I feel like this will be enough surface area. We can do one side with our, I think it's called, you'll notice there's a lot of Sketchbox. For a time, I was addicted to getting mystery boxes from Sketchbox, because monthly they have a subscription. I'm not promoting them. You know, I'm not sponsored to promote them, but if you care to get like just a random sample of supplies, like they do have full-size containers of it, and not all of their stuff is from Sketchbox. Like you can get Copic, however you want to pronounce that, Copic markers, which are alcohol-based markers. You can get, you know, different kinds of pencils, different kind of crayons, different kind of whatever. It's not crayons. I'm talking like these kinds of, you know, crayons or pastels. Ugh, I just keep getting my fingers stuck in everything. I'm having a mess over here. But right now on hand, I have a lot of Sketchbox stuff. That was unintentional, but here we are. And I'm sorry, Bob, you've been covered up. Poor guy. Okay, so with a napkin, you have to be a little more gentle. The filters, they are thicker. They're a little more sturdy. With the napkin, you have to be very gentle. You don't want to do copious amounts of water, because it's easily, you know, you can easily tear it. But what you would do with this particular powder, wow, I made like a heck of a mess. Oh, my goodness. Well, you know, it's not the first time, and I'm darn sure it won't be the last. Okay. So we spritz it, and then you can take this powder, and you want to kind of knock it back into this little thing, and then you just shake it. A little tiny shake goes a long way. My fan is like blowing it off the table. That's way more than I needed. Honestly, that's way more. But if you watch now, you can see, look at all those colors like moving around. I don't know if you can see it very well, but then you can kind of angle your, it's supposed to be grape. Like that's the color. If you were to pour it into a palette, like put a little bit of the powder into a palette, or actually here, I can just show you on a paper plate. So, because we can still use it. So if you were to just, you can see there, to take a little bit of the powder, and then, what am I doing? Trying to put the cap to that thing on there? Good Lord. Okay. And you just do that, and then you mix it together. See how it becomes, it's like grape now. Excuse me. It's hard to see it being grape, but it is. It's purple. It doesn't look purple probably because of the parchment paper, but that's fine. But honestly, it's got all of these little colors, the blues, the greens, these pinks and reds, and all of that make it the grape that it is. And how funny that I'm doing that today, because it's my best friend Arnie Grape's birthday. Anyway, so you kind of see that that's how you can do that side. Now, what we're going to have to do, because we did that, is we're going to have to get our other parchment paper. Now, I do have these parchment, like this is the parchment paper that I bought, and it comes in 8 by 12 inch. You can literally just go to Walmart and buy the roll like foil of parchment paper, and you can cut off whatever size sheet you need, so that you know, I could have had the proper amount of sheet for what I'm doing. I'm just going to overlap it because water tends to, let's move you, Bob, so you don't get your little tootsies watercolored. So then this is how we're going to use the plate again just because this is covered up. Now I've covered it with the parchment thing. So again, you just draw on there. We'll show you. Or you can kind of like, you could do leaves or whatever. Do leaves. I know that doesn't look very leaf-like. But it's abstract, so it's fine, right? You know, like different petals and I don't know, whatever kind of stuff. And then you can come back with your spritzer and it'll kind of, it's a little more difficult with that, but that's fine. But this, I almost tried to squeeze it like it's my pen, but you can put that on there and then take, you don't want to add a lot of water to it, but you want to add some, but then you can see how you activate it and you can pick that up and do your little flower petals or leaves or whatever. So yeah, I just wanted to share that. I didn't bring another, well, we could do it on here. We can see how it works on a piece of, you can see how it's kind of already gotten a lot of the remnants from my Lanta. Goodness, what am I gonna do? Oh, okay, we'll just throw that over there. Bring in the plate. And here's another thing. So you could literally just draw, let's try to do a shamrock. Wow, I'm a terrible shamrock drawer. Ha! Anyway, then you can just come in and trace it out and kind of get like a little bit of, I need more water. Let's just, but you can keep it where it's like an outline and you can do your own little pattern or whatever. Or you can just do your own more vibrant piece. We're going to try to turn this into a shamrock. I don't know if we're going to be able to, but we're going to do our best. I don't know why I say we, but you're here with me, whoever's watching, you know, so it is we. We'll keep it like that. That's fine. That's not a very good shamrock, but it's okay. That didn't bother you, Kiko? Somebody just delivered something to our door and I'm surprised she didn't do her scream bark. Anyway, you get the idea. You can have more vibrant colors. You can add them to the other ones, you know, fill in your patterns with other watercolor. I don't know, watercolor is fun because you can go as dark as you want or as light as you want. In my opinion, which is, you know, there's a lot of sayings about opinions. I won't share them because they're mostly inappropriate, but you can do whatever you like with them. I tend to go on the lighter side. I like more of these where they're vibrant but more opaque, or I mean translucent. I don't really care. Like watercolor, I feel like shouldn't be, it should be translucent. But that's just my opinion. It obviously, again, it's preference. But I like the vibrancy of it, so I do layers and stuff. But for some reason, I don't know, I don't like it being super dark and overwhelmingly, yeah, covered like that. So to protect your page again, I don't have any more parchment pulled out right now because I used it for that big old napkin that was unintended. Let's do, okay, so here we can see, we'll do half and half, so we'll see the difference between do I have a purple? I got a rouge. Oh, I got an iris. Oh, look at that, iris. You have a color in my palette. Let's see what iris is color. Oh, that's like a violet, I guess. It could be, but it's iris. So you can see how, again, I use that word so much right now, but vibrant. And then we're gonna move that off to the side, and we're gonna grab this other one that's a different brand, but I believe this one's Lilac. And we're just gonna do a little light coloring of it. And then it's similar. I mean, I didn't go in really heavy with it either, so it's not gonna be as dark. I guess I could show that, or you can kind of go in with a heavier hand. I don't know. This is just meant for, like, it's my take on watercolor. I'm not being, like, this isn't a tutorial or any kind of, like, I know what I'm talking about and you don't kind of thing. This is literally just what I've experienced with these different types of watercolor. And just sharing, because, you know, sharing is caring. But you see, the more pigment you add, the different, like, level of vibrancy you can get, and then the more water you add, it will lessen. So this is literally this is just less pressure with the crayon. This is with a heavier pressure. And then, like I said, you can just take that and you can mix it into a palette or whatever, and soak your whole filter in it, or you can do designs on it. You know, what do they say? The world is your oyster, or that might be wrong, but you know, I just thought I would share my take on watercolor, and I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it was helpful, and yeah, let me know if you like different paints or whatever's. Let me know what your favorite medium is, and maybe your favorite color. That would be fun. All right. So I'm going to love you and leave you. All right. Have a great day.